It feels like we're in the dark ages of Wuthering Waves news right now because it's been eternity since we actually got any form of information right after the devlogs ended. Now, currently, a lot of people have hope that this game will get a beta sometime early this year. There are rumors that there will be a beta around April, but I believe that very likely the chances of us getting a beta early this year may not happen. And here's why. Now, for those of you who don't want to stick around for the full video, the TLDR of the entire video can be summed up in basically one sentence. It's because of the amount of regulations that you have to clear with the Chinese government in order to be able to just release a game. Now, for those of you who are going to stay for the video, let's actually get into those policies that I'm talking about. Now, China is very strict with the way that they handle games and online media. So even releasing a beta, you have to go through a lot of processes in order to get your game released. And some of the processes you have to go through are trying to get a rating for the game, trying to make sure that the game's policies do not violate the Chinese law, and all of these things. These are standard things that most companies will have to go through in any country. But the Chinese one seems to be a lot more strict than it usually is for other countries. So the review process is handled mostly by the NPPA. This stands for the National Press and Publication Administration. In China, this is basically the main review body for online media, especially games. And the process for getting your game reviewed by them is, like I said, quite long. Now, first of all, before anyone is even able to apply to the NPPA for a game to be released, they have to get 2 licenses. They have to get an online publishing service license, which I'm going to call an OSP, and an internet content provider value added telecommunication license. What a mouthful. But that's also shortened to ICP. And the thing is, if you don't have these 2 licenses, you cannot even begin to make the review for your game. Does Kuro Games have all of these licenses? As for the ICP license, yes, they do have that. You can see it on their website, or if you cannot see it on their website, you can go to this website that you can see on screen right now and just type in their website name and you'll see it. I also pasted a screenshot of it where it is. Another way to also know if a company has an ICP license in China is to check if they have a Chinese website. If they have a Chinese website, then they must have an ICP license. And since Kuro Games' main website is a Chinese website, you get the idea. Now, the one that I'm not sure of is the OSP, because this license is said to be the hardest license to get. Now, most of the information that I'm getting, I got from a website. I'll link it down below so you can read the full article for yourself. But according to the website, it says that this license is by far the hardest license to get, which is why most companies would rather just go and publish their games under another company that has it, and that company would serve as their publisher. So I tried to find out if Kuro Games actually had this license, but I couldn't see any surefire way of actually checking to see if a company has this license. So in my last ditch effort, I went to the Punishing Grey Raven Wikipedia page to check who the publisher of the game is, because I was thinking if the publisher is different, then maybe they don't have the license. And on the Wikipedia page, it shows that Kuro Games is the publisher of the game. So I guess it's safe to assume that they also have the OSP. Now, I am not sure. Everything I say in this video, I am not sure of. I am not a Chinese citizen. I am Nigerian. If we believe that Kuro Games has these 2 licenses already, then the next step in the review process would then be for Kuro Games to actually do some internal reviews. Now, these internal reviews are mandatory for the publishers of whatever game or media that is going to be released. And the things that must be covered in this review for the NPPA include information about the game's background, the characters' roles in the game, information on non-playable characters, information on the settings of the game, information on the main storyline of the game, information on systems, shops, features, and even the user instructions. Like, you have to have a review for literally every single part of the game. And that's not even the most important one. The most important one is what they call the internal censorship review. I don't know about you, but that's actually quite a lot of things to go through. And without any of these reviews being done on all of these parts of the game, you cannot even begin to apply to the NPPA. Now, after the internal review, then they can actually go to the NPPA. Now, the main thing that the NPPA checks is whether all of the things that I listed in the previous section are in any way violating the Chinese rules, whether they are political, military, ethnical, religious, anything at all. If you broach any topic that they don't like, your game is most probably going to get shut down. Now, these checks don't actually happen for mobile games that don't have any serious game elements to them. Games like Archaea or Candy Crush or Sudoku or Piano Tiles or Temple Run or Subway Surfers. You get them. They're just these games that you just absolutely play for fun. You're not playing them for the story or anything like that. You're not going to see anything that could potentially be violating the rules of anybody, apart from maybe character skins in a game like Subway Surfers. But I mean, those happen very, very rarely, so you can understand why it's less strict for those games. But Wuthering Waves is most probably going to be a big game, and it's also supposed to be an anime themed game. And the problem here is that most anime themed games must, in some way, shape or form, have, for lack of better words, very, very indecent characters, especially the females. So it's going to be a bit rough for them. They'll have to do a lot of censoring and all of that, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, after the NPPA is done with checking whether the game itself is fine, they then need to go and start checking whether the company that is actually publishing the game is in good standing. They will check things like the time the company was registered, what games they've released, and all of that sort of jazz. And after that, they will then start checking whether the game sticks to their anti-addiction policies. Now, in around 2007, the metric that they gave for what is considered healthy playing of a game is around 3 to 5 hours on a game, an online game. So if you play a game for 3 to 5 hours, that's fine. But if you go more than 5 hours, then that's considered very, very unhealthy. And every game that comes out from China must implement strategies to ensure that you do not play a game more than a set amount of time. This is why games like Clash of Clans would automatically just log you out after, like, let's say 6 hours straight online, or is that 12 hours online? But then after all of this, can we actually say that we will get a beta? Now, as of making this video, I don't know where Kuro Games is in this process. We don't even know if they've started the process for review yet. So in order for us to be safe, what I will say is weather down your expectations and wait for official news. Whether you see a leak or anything, keep your expectations low, because things aren't going as straightforward as you think they are going. Like, I didn't know you'd have to go through all of this just in order to publish a beta, not even the official launch. And you have to do this every single time you want to create an update for your game. Even though most Chinese games don't actually go through this process over and over again whenever they want to update their games, it's still a requirement under the Chinese law. So yeah, what I just want to say is, as much as I want to see a beta very, very soon, it's most likely not going to happen unless Kuro Games has already applied and maybe they're in the final stages of the review, which, if that's the case, that's good. But I think we would have some information about that by now, and we don't have any form of information about that. Now, I don't know about leaks or anything like that because I don't follow leaks. So maybe there are leaks about it already that I don't know about, and then this video would be rendered useless. Who knows? Maybe even while I'm recording this video now, news has already come out that the game is going to be launching a beta sometime soon. You never know. But yeah, that's sort of why I think we may not get a Wuthering Waves beta anytime soon. Maybe later on in the year, like June, July, or later on in the year. I expect the full launch of the game to happen by 2024, so I know that we'll get a beta sometime this year. I'm just not sure of when. But make sure you're following me on Twitter for news on Wuthering Waves and also Arknights Enfield whenever news for that game starts to come out. And also make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on the videos that I'll make for Arknights